What if everything you've ever believed about life, death, and your very identity was an illusion? What if the memories you cling to, the emotions you feel, and even your sense of self were merely fragments of a dream? And what if just maybe you're about to wake up? This video isn't just a theory, it's a mirror held up to the deepest part of your being, reflecting back truths you've always known but could never put into words. So stay with me, because if you resonate with what follows, you might be closer than you think to the final reincarnation, the last human life. Let's begin. Some people walk through life with a strange sense of familiarity, as though they've read this story before. The days feel recycled, the events eerily similar, the lessons too well known. It's not boredom and it's not depression, it's something else. It's as if they've reached the last chapter of a very long book. And once you reach the end, something changes. You start seeing through the page. What if reincarnation isn't just a loop, but a game with a hidden exit? Many ancient philosophies and spiritual traditions, from Hinduism to Buddhism, from Kabbalah to Gnostic Christianity, describe life as a cycle: birth, death, rebirth. We enter this world, live, die, and return again, over and over. Until what? Enlightenment, liberation. Some say we must cleanse our karma, others that we must remember who we truly are. But modern science throws a curveball. If time isn't linear, as both Einstein and quantum theory suggest, and if consciousness isn't confined to the body, but is instead part of an infinite field, then reincarnation may not be a chain of separate events. Instead, it may be all happening at once, an interwoven web of lifetimes playing out like a symphony with infinite instruments. So how do you escape? How do you know if this is your last incarnation? Let's explore the 7 signs that your soul is approaching the end of its cycle. 1. You feel like a stranger in the human experience. You engage in life. You go to work, attend events, share conversations. But behind every interaction is a subtle disconnect, like you're observing more than participating, like you're playing a role you've long since outgrown. Others are invested in the drama of life, chasing wealth, validation, power, but to you it all seems thin, hollow, as if the script is repeating and the plot no longer excites you. It's not nihilism, it's clarity. You sense deeply that none of this is truly real. It's as if you've peeked behind the curtain of the play and now can't forget what you saw. This aligns with quantum theories that propose consciousness doesn't originate in the brain. Rather, the brain receives it like a radio picking up a frequency. Could it be that your current identity is just a temporary avatar, a vessel, and you are something far more eternal, far more expansive? The deeper you feel this detachment, not out of sadness, but serenity, the closer you may be to awakening. And awakening, dear soul, is not the goal of a journey. It's the realization there was no journey at all. 2. Deja vu isn't a trick, it's timeline awareness. Most people shrug off deja vu as a cognitive glitch, a hiccup in brain chemistry. But for some, deja vu is not vague, it's vivid. You don't just feel like you've lived a moment before, you know it. You feel every detail, the words, the colors, the exact inflection of a voice, and then it passes, leaving behind a strange sense of disorientation, like you've slipped between worlds. What if that sensation isn't a memory, but a bleed-through from a parallel life, a crossing of timelines? If time is a field, not a line, then all lifetimes past, future, sideways could exist simultaneously. And your consciousness, it might simply be tuning into different frequencies. People nearing their final reincarnation often report visions of places they've never visited, knowledge they've never studied, lives they've never lived. But what if they have, just not in this timeline? Deja vu then is not confusion, it's confirmation. You're starting to remember that your life is not a straight road, it's a kaleidoscope, and that realization means you're already stepping out of the dream. 3. You no longer fear death. Both humans avoid thoughts of death. It's instinctive. Our biology tells us to run to survive. But for you, death doesn't hold that terror. Not anymore. It's not that you're careless or morbid. It's that deep inside you remember. You've done this before, many, many times. When you hear about near-death experiences, they sound familiar. The light, the peace, the sense of return rather than ending. You sense that death isn't a void but a doorway, a soft curtain to pass through, not a wall to crash into. This calmness isn't apathy, it's ancient wisdom. You've crossed this threshold more times than you can count. And perhaps in this life, your soul knows it's the last crossing before freedom. That's why the fear is gone. The illusion is unraveling. Green. Synchronicities multiply around you. Have you noticed that reality is responding to you not just occasionally but consistently? You think of someone, and they call. You speak a thought, and hear it echoed minutes later. You wonder about a symbol, and it shows up on a stranger's shirt. Coincidence? Hardly. Synchronicities are more than chance, they're messages, signposts, echoes from the deeper layers of reality. If you're seeing them more often, it may mean you're becoming lucid inside the simulation. The boundaries between thought and form are thinning. You're not just in the dream, you're bending it. And if reality answers you, then who are you? 5. You feel an overwhelming sense of completion. As if there's nothing left to chase. Picture this, you're standing at the edge of a vast field watching everyone else run in different directions, chasing goals, validation, dreams, status symbols. But you're still. You're no longer pulled by the same gravitational force that drives others. Most people carry a hunger inside: more money, more love, more recognition, more of something. But inside you there is stillness, a quiet sense of wholeness. You still have dreams. You still set goals. But they no longer define you. They no longer possess you. Whether they materialize or not doesn't shake your inner peace. And that alone sets you apart in a profound way. This isn't apathy, it's a deeper wisdom, the wisdom that nothing external can complete what's already whole. Your soul, after lifetimes of grasping, has arrived at a point of stillness. You're not yearning for another title, another conquest, another lesson. You've lived through wealth and poverty, passion and heartbreak, chaos and silence. And now nothing remains undone. Ancient teachings say that when the soul has resolved its karmic imprints, its attachments, regrets, longings, and fears, it simply stops the loop. That unrelenting need to return, to fix something, to learn something, dissolves. You don't have to earn your freedom. You just have to remember you were never bound. And so this quiet sense of completion isn't resignation. It's transcendence. It's the gentle awareness that your soul has played the game long enough and there's nothing left to prove. You've become the witness, and soon you may become the light beyond it all. 6. You sense that reality isn't the base layer. You can feel the edges of the illusion. There's something off about the world, isn't there? You can't quite put your finger on it, but deep down you've always suspected that what we call reality isn't the whole picture. The sky is blue, but only because your brain interprets light in a certain way. Objects seem solid, but quantum physics tells us they're mostly empty space. No two atoms truly touch. The world feels real because we've agreed it is, but what if that agreement is built on illusion? For someone in their final incarnation, this suspicion becomes certainty. You start seeing the matrix behind the form, the patterns, the hidden codes, the invisible hands shaping every experience. You notice how your attention influences events. You see how perception bends matter, and you begin to feel it. The walls of this simulated dimension aren't as solid as they seem. Modern science now explores this very idea. The holographic universe theory suggests that the 3D world we experience may be a projection of encoded data from a higher dimensional field. What we touch, see, and hear may just be a visual output like pixels on a screen. And what happens when the character in the game starts to realize they're inside a game? They stop playing by the rules. They question everything. They start searching for the console, for the source code. You may notice synchronicities more often. You might feel time stretch or compress. You may sense the future before it happens, or recall moments from lifetimes you've never consciously lived. These are cracks in the simulation and you're peeking through. If this resonates with you, you might be standing at the edge of the veil, close to stepping outside the entire structure. Not by force, but by awakening. The moment you see the illusion, you are no longer trapped within it. 7. You know that you were never real, and that's the final key to liberation. Now we arrive at the deepest truth, the one that makes everything else fall away. You were never who you thought you were. The identity you wear, your name, your face, your voice, your memories, is a mask. A costume stitched from thoughts shaped by stories. The ego is a tool for navigating the human game, but it's not the player. It never was. You are not the wave. You are the ocean moving as a wave. When the wave crashes, it doesn't die, it returns to what it always was. The same is true for you. This is why enlightenment is often described as ego death. Not because something is lost, but because something false is recognized and released. When you stop identifying with the wave, the fleeting self, you remember the stillness beneath all movement. You stop asking, "Who am I?" and start living from what cannot be spoken, only known. A sense of vastness, of being everything and nothing all at once. The moment this clicks not as a thought, but as a direct experience, reincarnation loses its grip. There is no longer a you who needs to learn, grow, or return. The soul dissolves into the source and the game is complete. Many spiritual traditions echo this truth. Liberation is not realizing I am divine, it's realizing I am nothing. And in becoming nothing, you become everything. So what happens when the cycle ends? Do you vanish? Merge with the all, return to the source? No one truly knows. But if you've followed this far, if every word feels like a memory, not a revelation, then you may be closer to that edge than you realize. You may be ready to let go, to dissolve into the infinite, to remember the truth beneath all illusion. You were never trapped, you were never separate, you were never real, and now you are free. If you've made it this far, comment below with 100% a sign that this message has reached you, not just as a video, but as a memory awakening within. And before you go, don't forget to watch the recommended video on your screen now. The journey doesn't end here. This is only the beginning of remembering who you truly are.